I did want to go back to one term that I learned from your book and get you to talk about it a little bit more. And that's this term of diminished reality.
We're so, this is just this concept of the idea of being able to sort of almost like erase what you see.
Mhm.
And there's examples in sci-fi of when this happened, but it actually, I was doing some research for, so I've taught 4 original classes over the past 3 years at NYU. So I did a business of AR and VR, marketing of emerging tech, avatars and virtual beings, and a business of the metaverse class.
And
And
these are all
so
classes that you created, right?
they're all classes that I created. Yes.
Wow.
All of them. I've had over like 150 guests and all this sort of thing. It's really sort of it's a fun side hustle of just, I get to,
Sounds like a lot of fun.
it's fun. And but what I have to do is, because it's emerging tech, is that for every time I teach the class, I have to go and like look around and say like, what's going
What's
on? Like,
new?
what's
Yeah.
happening? Somebody said, that sounds exhausting. And I'm like, it is, but it's also great. And so I looked at like, an example came up of diminished reality actually when I was doing it, that IKEA's new app, you can erase like where your couch is when you use the app, so you can put in their couch and see what it looks like. So that erasing of the couch when you look at your room through your phone or their app is diminished reality. It is like removing of things that are actually physically there, but through your screen they sort of are gone. And so there are that sort of dystopian visions of like, you walk
Wow.
around and you're like, I don't want to see this anymore, so I'm going to get rid of it. And in theory that could happen. I mean, I think there's an entire Black Mirror episode where somebody was like, I don't want to see my ex-girlfriend or whatever, and like she's like gone from his life. And so it could go to that extreme theoretically if you do facial recognition and
Yeah.
then diminish reality on it. But I think that probably in the near term it's much more like the IKEA, like, let's erase the couch so we can put the couch in there, which makes a ton of sense for if you want to decorate your house, or your apartment or whatever. That how can you decorate it without understanding what it looks like without it, or what it would look like with other things in it? And that object recognition, which is good for putting things into your space from an augmented
Yes.
reality, can also help you identify and use AI again, to remove, because the AI is going like, what does it look like behind the couch, on the floor, on the wall, and make sort of guesses using that technology to do that. And so I do like the term diminished reality. I mean, we don't need another like it's DR with AR and VR. Like, please no, like no more acronyms. I really do think that
Yeah.
technologists like create new acronyms just to make it more difficult. But I think it'll be interesting to see, I think, more and more as augmented reality, as computer vision, as all this can take in the world and identify it. And as AI gets more, infiltrates even more, that there will be the opportunity to remove things. And that
Absolutely.
concept and that idea is diminished reality.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I just read an article a day or two ago, and it was XR. So before I
Well,
even jumped
XR is
into
a
the
whole
art,
other,
I
XR
know,
sort of is everything. XR is
I
like
know,
extended reality.
but I
And
had to
so
go and read about and figure out what XR was before I
XR
could
is
even enjoy
just
the
all of
article,
it. It's
Yeah.
AR and VR, it's combined, it's cross reality, extended reality, all of it. And then if you also want to confuse yourself even more, there's a mixed reality, which is what people talk about, which is like
Yes.
much more of a Microsoft term. To me, rightly or wrongly, I think of it as it's AR, but it's a little bit more interactive. When they talk about it, they're discussing it, but really AR should be interactive. So it's and they'll say it's on the spectrum between AR on one side, VR on the other side, mixed reality in the middle. This is where people in the emerging tech industry get in their own way in terms of creating lots and lots of terms. And so sometimes I
Yes.
do like to go in there and just be like, let me try to explain it. And even, you know what, honestly, if it's not perfect, but it gets you far enough to understand it so that you're not so much worried about the term, but you understand the concept. Which having so many terms is hard to understand the concept. But if you get to the point of concept, again, you can make decisions or brainstorm or think about what's possible. Or even if you want to, if you're trying to hire a company to do something for you, that you're able to have the questions, the back and forth, as opposed to having somebody say, well, I'm in technology and I know what I'm doing. Let me tell you, company, what to do. Instead, the executive on the other side to be like, well, wait a second. Can you do this? Have you thought of this? Could we ever do this? What if we brought in these other technologies? Have you heard of it? Like, it's just more of an easy back and forth kind of conversation, as opposed to like, I don't know any of these acronyms. Like, hey, other person who works in tech in the company, like, you decide. Like, I want it to be a part. It's going to be a part of everybody's lives. So I want everybody to be able to have an understanding and be able to make the choices that are right for them.
Yeah. And in a few years, all of these terms, if they last, will just
They might
be a part.
not.
Yeah. But if they do, they'll be just a part of our new normal
Well,
daily conversations,
I mean, I think that that's what they say, that a lot of teenagers use augmented reality, but have no idea what the term is. A lot of people use it, and I just don't know. They're like, oh, it's just the thing when I can see and interact with a graphic. Like, it's like, yeah, that's what it is.
But the bottom line is the future of sight is more options, more things out there for you to either add or subtract to what you're seeing and what you're able to see.